Hello everybody and welcome to Magic the Gathering Arena. Phyrexia All will be one. This is the new set that has been released recently, and I am a little late in recording this episode, but we are going to be opening our 50 packs and 5 gold packs from the new Phyrexia All will be one set. The pre-order bundle which we have got, but first off we will be using our common and uncommon cards in order to gain the most out of our pack openings. So what we are going to do is we're going to head over to the deck section, and we are going to be opening deck limit reached. Okay, so we have got the deck limit reached. What we need to do is we need to get rid of something that we've already got. Let's have a look. Okay. Can we not? Oh, this starter deck, so we can't get rid of those. Okay, so let's have a look. Sultai Goo, let's get rid of that. We've never used that one. And let's see, what else have we got? Invoke Burn, we're not too bothered about that. Right, okay, so let's scroll back up to the top. And we're going to be looking for the new cards. So let's craft. We're going to use the search filter, and we're going to go to not collected. Phyrexia All will be one. Anything there, and okay. So let's have a look. We're just going to go through these cards and we're just going to select everything that we haven't got, and we're going to bet 4 of everything. Okay, so this basically what's going to happen with this is when we craft 4 of each of everything, if we get any of these cards while opening packs, it is going to add to our percentage here in the vault, and then we will get some extra rares and mythic rare wild cards. So that is the whole point of doing this. Oh, hang on a second, hang on. Rarity we're going to have to put as common and uncommon. There we go. We don't want to be using any of our rare cards at the moment. So that's some uncommon cards there. Zealot Conviction, Bladed Ambassador. And this way, when we open up the packs, when we come to open up the packs, although we will have nothing that is new, we will read through these cards as well, because we know that we haven't explained them or read the card text. Okay, so now that that is done, we've used all of our common and uncommon cards. So we're going to go and open our packs. And we have got 53 of the new packs. So let's open these and see what we've got. And we will run through. So we have got Testament Bearer. It's a Phyrexian warrior. When Testament Bearer dies, look at the top 3 cards of your library, put one of them into your hand and the rest into your graveyard. It's a 4/1. Mer Kinsmith. When Mer Kinsmith enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a Mer card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. We've also got Hex Gold Slash. Hex Gold Slash deals 2 damage to target creature. That creature has Toxic. Hex Gold Slash deals 4 damage to that creature instead. Cruel Grimnarch. Death Touch. When Cruel Grimnarch enters the battlefield, each opponent discards a card. For each opponent who can't, you gain 4 life. Volt Charge. Volt Charge deals 3 damage to any target. Proliferate. And Proliferate is choose any number of permanents and or players, then give each other counter of each kind already there. We've also got Incubation Sac. Incubation Sac enters the battlefield with 3 oil counters on it, and for 4 we can tap it, remove an oil counter from Incubation Sac, create a 3/3 colourless Phyrexian Golem artifact creature token, activate only as a sorcery. And we've got Cacophony Scamp. Whenever Scamp deals combat damage to a player, you may sacrifice it. If you do, Proliferate. When Cacophony Scamp dies, it deals damage equal to its power to any target. Wow, that's a good one. And what have we got here? Bloated Contaminator. Trample, Toxic 1. Whenever Bloated Contaminator deals combat damage to a player, Proliferate. Toxic, a player dealt combat damage by a creature with Toxic also gets poison counters equal to that creature's total Toxic value. So that's pretty decent. That's amazing, actually. So we're going to open the next pack. What have we got here, guys? So we have got, although this is not new, we're going to read through it because we have not read through the descriptions of these ones. Mandible Justicar. It's got lifelink. Whenever another artifact enters the battlefield under your control, Mandible Justicar gets +1/+1 until the end of the turn. We've also got Rustvine Cultivator. For tap, put an oil counter on Rustvine Cultivator. We can tap to remove an oil counter from Rustvine Cultivator, untap target land. It's a 1/2. We've also got Mer Custodian. When Mer Custodian enters the battlefield, scry 2, then each opponent may scry 1. We've also got Planar Disruption. Enchant artifact, creature or planeswalker. Enchanted permanent can't attack or block, and its activated abilities can't be activated. We've also got Leonin, a Lightbringer. It's a cat rebel with ward 2. As long as Leonin Lightbringer is equipped, it gets +1/+1. We've also got Bladehold War Whip for Mirrodin, and that is when this equipment enters the battlefield, create a 2/2 red rebel creature token, then attach it to this. Equip abilities you activate of other equipment cost 1 less to activate. Equipped creature has double strike. We've also got Against All Odds. Choose one or both. Exile target artifact or creature you control, then return it to the battlefield under its owner's control. Or return target artifact or creature card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. We've also got Conduit of Worlds. You may play lands from your graveyard. We can tap, choose target non-land permanent card in your graveyard. If you haven't cast a spell this turn, you may cast that card. If you do, you can't cast additional spells this turn. Activate only as a sorcery. We have also got Oil Gorger Troll. When Oil Gorger Troll enters the battlefield, you gain 3 life. Then if you control a permanent with an oil counter on it, draw a card. We've got a common wildcard, Copper Longlegs, Reach, and for 1 and a forest, sacrifice Copper Longlegs, Proliferate. We've got Lattice Blade Mantis, enters the battlefield with 2 oil counters on it. Whenever Lattice Blade Mantis attacks, you may remove an all counter from it. If you do, untap it and it gets +1/+1 until the end of the turn. We've got Volshock Splitter. For Mirrodin, a quick creature gets +2/+0, equip 2 and a mountain. We've got Magmatic Sprinter. Haste. When Magmatic Sprinter enters the battlefield, put 2 oil counters on target artifact or creature you control. At the beginning of your end step, return Magmatic Sprinter to its owner's hand, unless you remove 2 oil counters from it. We've also got the Scamp again, which we have seen. We've got Rhea Ivor, Bane of Bladehold. And it's a battle cry at the beginning of combat on your turn, and the next time target creature would deal combat damage to one or more players this combat, prevent that damage. If damage prevented this way, create that many 1/1 colourless Phyrexian might artifact creature tokens with Toxic 1, and this creature can't block. Battle cry is whenever this creature attacks, each other attacking creature gets +1/+0 until the end of the turn. So, we have also got Vraska's Fall. Each opponent sacrifices a creature or planeswalker and gets a poison counter. Miran Baradishare. For Mirrodin, a quick creature gets +2/+1 and has Vigilance. Gitaxian Raptor. It's got Flying. It enters the battlefield with 3 oil counters on it. Remove an oil counter from Gitaxian Raptor. It gets +1/-1 until the end of the turn. Sheoldred's Head Cleaver. It's got Menace and Toxic 2. A player dealt combat damage by a creature with Toxic also gets poison counters equal to that creature's total Toxic value. We've got Malcator's Watcher. It's Flying and Vigilance. When it dies, draw a card. We've got an uncommon wild card. And Ossification. Enchant basic land you control. When it enters the battlefield, exile target creature or planeswalker an opponent controls until Ossification leaves the battlefield. And we've also got Razorverge Thicket, and that's one of the rare lands. It enters the battlefield tapped unless you control 2 or fewer other lands. So these are what we call fast lands. We've got Predation Steward. Enters the battlefield with 2 oil counters on it and 2 in a forest. We can tap, remove an oil counter from Predation Steward. Target creature gets +2/+2 until the end of the turn. Activate only as a sorcery. We've got a common wildcard. We've also got Hexgold Slash, which we have seen. Experimental Augury. Look at the top 3 cards of your library, put one of them into your hand, put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. Proliferate. We've got the Fair Beliska, enters the battlefield tapped. We can tap and add a plains, or we can, for 1 and a plains, sacrifice the Fair Beliska and draw a card. We've also got Resistance Skywarden, which has got Menace and Reach for 5/5. We've got Necrogen Communion. Enchant creature you control. It has Toxic 2. When enchanted creature dies, return that card to the battlefield under your control. And we have managed to get an Elesh Norn, Mother of Machines. Vigilance. If a permanent entering the battlefield causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers at an additional time. Permanents entering the battlefield don't cause abilities of permanents your opponents control to trigger. So wow, that's a really good card. We've got the Dross Pits. The Dross Pits enters the battlefield tapped. Tap and add for a swamp, and 1 and a swamp. Sacrifice a Dross Pit, draw a card. Rustvine Cultivator. We have seen Malcator's Watcher, and this is a Cutthroat Centurion, Phyrexian Warrior. Sacrifice another artifact or creature, gets +2/+2 until the end of the turn. Activate only once each turn. We've got a Complete Devotion. Target creature you control gets +2/+2 until the end of the turn. That creature has Toxic, draw a card. We've got Furnace Punisher. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, Furnace Punisher deals 2 damage to that player unless they control 2 or more basic lands. We've also got Hex Gold Hoverwings for Mirrodin. Quick creature has flying. Creatures you control that are equipped get +1/+0. Caramonix the Rat King. Toxic 1. Other rats you control have Toxic 1. When it enters the battlefield, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal any number of rat cards from among them and put the revealed cards into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in any random order. We have got Contagious Vorak. When it enters the battlefield, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal a land card from among them and put them into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. If you didn't put a card into your hand this way, proliferate. Terramorphic Expanse. Tap and sacrifice it. Search your library for a basic land card. Put it on the battlefield tap, then shuffle. We've also got Surgical Skull Bomb. For 1, we can sacrifice it and draw a card. For 2 and an island, sacrifice Surgical Skull Bomb. Return target creature to its owner's hand. Draw a card. Activate only as a sorcery. We've got Sky Scythe Engulfer. Reach Trample. It can't be blocked by creatures with flying, and it's a 6/5. Wow. Charge of the Mites. Choose 1. Charge of the Mites deals damage equal to the number of creatures you control to target creature or planeswalker, or create 2 1/1 colourless Phyrexian artifact creature tokens with Toxic 1, and this creature can't block. We've got Minor Misstep. Counter target spell with mana value 1 or less. Drowning Ichor. Target creature gets -4/-4 until the end of the turn. Proliferate. And we've also got Phyrexian Arena. At the beginning of your upkeep, you draw a card and you lose 1 life. We've also got a Mesmerizing Doors. Enchant creature. When it enters the battlefield, tap enchanted creature, then proliferate. Enchanted creature doesn't untap during its uncontrolled untap step. With Volshock Splitter. Copper Longlegs, which we've seen. And Infectious Inquiry. You draw 2 cards and you lose 2 life. Each opponent gets a poison counter. Molten Rebuke. Choose 1 or both. Molten Rebuke deals 5 damage to target creature or planeswalker, or destroy target equipment. We've got Ambulatory Device. When it enters the battlefield, you may pay 2 life. When you do, target creature gets -1/-1 until the end of the turn. Atmosphere Surgeon. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put an oil counter on Atmosphere Surgeon. Remove an oil counter from it. Target creature gains flying until end of turn. Activate only as a sorcery. And we've also got Mercurial Spelldancer. Can't be blocked, and whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put an oil counter on Mercurial Spelldancer. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you may remove 2 oil counters from it. If you do, when you cast your next instant or sorcery spell this turn, copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. We've got the Autonomous Furnace, which is a land. It enters the battlefield tapped. Add mountain and 1 and a mountain. We can tap, sacrifice it, and draw a card. We've got Furnace Strider. Enters the battlefield with 2 oil counters on it. Remove an oil counter from the Furnace Strider. Target creature you control gains haste until the end of the turn. Blazing Crescendo. Target creature gets +3/+1 until the end of the turn. Exile the top card of your library. Until the end of your next turn, you may play that card. Lattice Blade Mantis, which we are already seen. And a Tyrannax Atrocity, Haste and Toxic 3. We've also got Chittering Skittling. It's got Corrupted. Sacrifice an artifact or creature, draw a card, activate only if an opponent has 3 or more poison counters, and only once each turn. And Corrupted is if it has 3 or more poison counters, right? Got ya. White Sun's Twilight. You gain X life, create X 1/1 colourless Phyrexian Might artifact creature tokens with Toxic 1, and this creature can't block. If X is 5 or more, destroy all other creatures. Wow, that's a really good card. We have also got Blightbelly Rat. Toxic 1. When Blightbelly Rat dies, proliferate. We've got Rustvine Cultivator again. Meldweb Curator. When it enters the battlefield, put up to 1 target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard on top of your library. Cost some more dross pits. We've also got Necrogen Rot Priest. Toxic 2. Whenever a creature you control with Toxic deals damage to a player, that player gets an additional poison counter. For 1 swamp and a forest, target creature you control with Toxic gains Death Touch until the end of the turn. We've also got Voidwing Hybrid. Flying, Toxic 1. When you proliferate, return Voidwing Hybrid from your graveyard to your hand. And we've also got a rare wild card. We have got Duelist of Deep Faith. Toxic 1. As long as it's your turn, Duelist of Deep Faith has first strike. Blightbelly Rat, which we've seen. Molten Rebuke, which we've seen. The Dross Pit, again. A Mandible Justicar, which we've seen. Tamiyo's Immobilizer. Enters the battlefield with 4 oil counters on it. We can tap to remove an oil counter from Tamiyo's Immobilizer. Tap target artifact or creature. We've also got Hex Gold Halberd. For Mirrodin, as long as it's your turn, a quick creature has first strike and trample. I'm sure we've seen this card. Norn's Wellspring. Whenever a creature you control dies, scry 1 and put an oil counter on Norn's Wellspring. For 1, we can tap, remove 2 oil counters from Norn's Wellspring and draw a card. We've seen Surgical Skullbomb, Rustvine Cultivator, Titanic Growth. Target creature gets +4/+4 until the end of the turn. Meldweb Strider. It's got Vigilance. Enters the battlefield with an oil counter on it. Remove an oil counter from Meldweb Strider. Becomes an artifact creature until end of turn. Crew 3. Sinew Dancer. For 3 and a plains, we can tap target creature. It's got Corrupted. For a plains, we can tap target creature. Activate only if an opponent has 3 or more poison counters. Reject Imperfection. Counter target spell. If that spell's mana value was 3 or less, proliferate. Armored Scrap Gorger. Gets +3/+0 as long as it has 3 or more oil counters on it. We can tap to add 1 mana of any colour, and whenever it becomes tapped, exile target card from a graveyard and put an oil counter on it. We've also got Vindictive Flamestalker. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put an oil counter on Vindictive Flamestalker. For 6 and a mountain, sacrifice it, discard your hand, then draw 4 cards. This ability costs 1 less to activate for each oil counter on it. So we have seen Indoctrination Attendant. Toxic 1. When it enters the battlefield, you may return another permanent you control to its owner's hand. If you do, create a 1/1 colourless Phyrexian Might artifact creature token with Toxic 1, and this creature can't block. Phyrexian Atlas. Add 1 mana of any colour. Corrupted. Each opponent who has 3 or more poison counters loses 1 life. We've seen Free from Flesh. Gets +2/+2 until the end of the turn. Put 2 oil counters on. Goldwater's Helm. A quick creature gets +0/+1. Vivisection Evangelist. It's got Corrupted. When it enters the battlefield, it has 3 or more poison counters. Destroy target creature or planeswalker. And a mythic card. We've got Axiom Engraver. Enters the battlefield with 2 oil counters on it. Tap, Remove an oil counter from Axiom Engraver, discard a card, draw a card. We've got Prologue to Phyrexia, and each opponent gets a poison counter, draw a card. Duress. Target opponent reveals their hand, you choose a non-creature, non-land card from it. That player discards that card. We've seen Meld Web Curator and Leonin Lightbringer. We've got Vat of Rebirth. Whenever another artifact or creature you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, put an oil counter on Vat of Rebirth. 2 plus a swamp, we can tap, remove 4 oil counters from Vat of Rebirth, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield, activate only as a sorcery. And we've also got Ica Plate Golem. Enters the battlefield under your control. If it has 1 or more oil counters on it, put an oil counter on it. Creatures you control with oil counters on them get +1/+1. We also got Jace the Perfected Mind. One of our planeswalkers. It's got completed, so we can actually use Phyrexian mana to activate this, which is in exchange for 2 life. +1 until your next turn, up to 1 target creature gets -3/-0. For -2, target player mills 3 cards, then if a graveyard has 20 or more cards in it, you draw 3 cards, otherwise you draw a card. And for -X, target player mills 3 times X cards. Orthodoxy Enforcer gets +2/+0 as long as you control 2 more artifacts. Ruthless Predation. Target creature you control gets +1/+2 until the end of the turn. It fights target creature you don't control. We've seen this one. Barbed Batterfist. For Mirrodin, a quick creature gets +1/-1. Sinew Dancer. Exuberant Fuseling. It's got Trample. Gets +1/+0 for each oil counter on it when it enters the battlefield, and whenever another creature or artifact you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, put an oil counter on it. We've got Resistance Reunited. Target creature gets +2/+2 until the end of the turn. Equipped creatures you control gain indestructible until the end of the turn. Also got Jaw Kadeen, first Gold Warden. It's got Trample. Whenever it attacks, it gets +X/+X until the end of the turn, where X is the number of equipped creatures you control. Then if Jaw Kadeen's power is 4 or greater, draw a card. We have got Maze Skullbomb. Sacrifice Maze Skullbomb, draw a card. For 2 and a forest, sacrifice it. Target creature you control gets +3/+3 and gains trample until the end of the turn. Draw a card, activate only as a sorcery. Oh, I've accidentally clicked there. Oops, that's my bad. Alright, Duress we've seen. Testament Bearer. When it dies, look at the top 3 cards of your library. Put 1 of them into your graveyard and the rest into your graveyard. Into your hand and the rest into the graveyard. We've seen Experimental Augury. Molten Rebuke. Vanish into Eternity. This spell costs 3 more to cast if it targets a creature. Exile target non-land permanent. We've seen Ica Plate Golem. This is the first viral spawning. Create a 3/3 green Phyrexian beast creature token with Toxic 1. Corruption, as long as opponent has 3 or more poison counters and viral spawning is in your graveyard, it has a flashback. We've got another completed planeswalker, Nissa Ascended Animist. And for +1, we can create an XX green Phyrexian horror creature token, where X is Nissa Ascended Animist's loyalty. -1, destroy target artifact or enchantment. For -7, until the end of the turn, creatures you control get +1/+1 for each forest you control and gain trample. We've seen Rustvine Cultivator. We've got a Chrome Prowler. Flash. When Chrome Prowler enters the battlefield, tap target creature and opponent controls. Aspirant Ascent. Until end of turn, target creature gets +1/+3 and gains flying and toxic 1. We've seen Crawling Chorus. Toxic 1, when Crawling Chorus dies, create a 1/1 colourless Phyrexian Might artifact creature token with Toxic 1, and this creature can't block. We've got Merconvert. Toxic 1, and we can tap to pay 2 life, add 1 mana of any colour. Vat of Rebirth, we've seen that. The Seed Core, Land Sphere. Tap to add colourless mana, or we can tap to add 1 mana of any colour, spend this mana to cast Phyrexian creature spells. Corruption, we can tap, target 1/1 creature gets +2/+1 until the end of turn, activate only if an opponent has 3 or more poison counters. We've got the Hunter Maze, enters the battlefield tapped, tap to add forest, or 1 plus a forest, sacrifice it to draw a card. Predation Steward, seen that. Branch Blight Stalker, Toxic 2. Complete Devotion, Armored Scrap Gorger, Skrelv's Hive. At the beginning of your upkeep, you lose 1 life and create a 1/1 colourless Phyrexian Might artifact creature token with Toxic 1, and this creature can't block. It's got the Corrupted ability. We have got Whisper of the Dross. Target creature gets -1/-1 until the end of the turn. Proliferate. Infectious Inquiry. You draw 2 cards and you lose 2 life. Each opponent gets a poison counter. The Surgical Bear is the same as the other ones. We can tap it to add an island, or we can 1 and an island to draw a card. We've got this one, we've seen this one, we've seen that one, we've seen all of these apart from the Zenith Chronicler. Whenever a player casts their first multicolored spell each turn, each other player draws a card. We've also got a Hazardous Blast. Deals 1 damage to each creature your opponents control. Creatures your opponents control can't block this turn. We've got Terramorphic Expanse, Whisper of the Dross, Blightbelly Rat, Vivisurgeon's Insight, draw 3 cards and then proliferate. Got a Vat of Rebirth and a Rib Skiff. Toxic 2, when it enters the battlefield, draw a card and we can group for 3. The Seed Core, that's the second one we've got of those. We've got Carnivorous Canopy. Destroy target artifact, enchantment or creature with flying. If that permanent's mana value was 3 or less, proliferate. Oil Gorge Troll. Gitaxian Anatomist. When it enters the battlefield, you may tap it. If you do, proliferate. Contagious Vorak. When it enters the battlefield, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal a land card from among them, put in your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. If you didn't put a card into your hand this way, proliferate. Basilica Skull Bomb, which we have seen before. Oxider Finisher. Affinity for equipment, Trample. So affinity for equipment means this spell costs 1 less to cast for each equipment you control. Plated Onslaught. Affinity for artifacts. Creatures you control +2/+1 till the end of the turn. And we've got Razor Verge Thicket. This is one of the fast lands for Selesnya colours. We have got Bone Picker's Scourge. Flying, it's got Corrupted. As long as the opponent has 3 or more poison counters, Bone Picker's Scourge has Death Touch and Lifelink. We've got Dross Skull Bomb. Sacrifice it, draw a card for 2 and a swamp. Sacrifice it again, return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand, draw a card. Activate only as a sorcery. We've got Cutthroat Centurion, Planar Disruption, Hexgold Halberd, and Evolving Adaptive, which enters the battlefield with an oil counter on it. It gets +1/+1 for each oil counter on it. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, that creature has greater power or toughness than Evolving Adaptive. Put an oil counter on Evolving Adaptive. And we've also got the Rat King again. Nice. We have got Thirsting Roots. Choose one, search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle, and then proliferate. Or we can proliferate, sorry. Merkin Smith. We've got Plague Nurse, Toxic 2. And 2 in a forest, each other creature you control with Toxic gains Toxic 1 until the end of the turn. Activate only once each turn. We've seen these two before. Slaughter Singer, Toxic 2. Whenever another creature you control with Toxic attacks, it gets +1/+1 until the end of the turn. Also got Venomous Brutalizer, Toxic 3. When it enters the battlefield, you may pay 1 in a forest. If you do, proliferate. We also got Malcator Purity Overseer. When it enters the battlefield, create a 3/3 colourless Phyrexian Golem artifact creature token. Beginning of your end step, if 3 or more artifacts enter the battlefield under your control this turn, create a 3/3 colourless Phyrexian Golem artifact creature token. We've also got Chimney Rabble. It's got haste. When it enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 red Phyrexian Goblin creature token. Malakdar's Watcher, which we've already seen. June Mover, Toxic 1. When it enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, then shuffle and put that card on top. We've seen the Bard Batterfist, the Incisor Glider, and we've also seen the Plated Onslaught, and we've got another Mercurial Spelldancer. Here we go, let's have a look. We've got Offer Immortality, instant. Target creature gains Death Touch and indestructible until the end of the turn. Charge of the Mites. Right, we've also got a Serum Snare. Return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. If that permanent had mana value 3 or less, proliferate. Charforger. When Charforger enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 red Phyrexian Goblin creature token. Whenever another creature or artifact you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, put an oil counter on Charforger. Remove 3 oil counters from Charforger. Exile the top card of your library. You may play the card this turn. And we've got the Filigree Silex. Tap. Put an oil counter on the Filigree Silex. And we can also tap again, sacrifice the Filigree Silex, destroy each non-land permanent with mana value equal to the number of oil counters on Filigree Silex. Tap, remove 10 oil counters from among permanents you control and sacrifice the Filigree Silex, deals 10 damage to any target. We've got Eye of Malcator. When Eye of Malcator enters the battlefield, scry 2. Whenever another artifact enters the battlefield under your control, it becomes a 4/4 Phyrexian Eye artifact creature until the end of the turn. We've also got Shrapnel Slinger. Enters the battlefield, you may sacrifice a creature. When you do, destroy target artifact an opponent controls. We've also got Distorted Curiosity. It's got Corrupted. This spell costs 2 less to cast if an opponent has 3 or more poison counters. Draw 2 cards. An Archfiend of the Dross. Phyrexian Demon. Archfiend of the Dross enters the battlefield with 4 oil counters on it. At the beginning of your upkeep, remove an oil counter from Archfiend of the Dross. Then if it has no oil counters on it, you lose the game. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, its controller loses 2 life. We've got Bladegraft Aspirant. It's got Menace. Equipment spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Activated abilities of equipment you control that target Bladegraft Aspirant cost 1 less to activate. Fleshless Gladiator. It's got Corrupted for 2 and a Swamp. Return Fleshless Gladiator from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. You lose 1 life. Activate only if an opponent has 3 or more poison counters. We've also got Infectious Bite. Target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to target creature you don't control. Each opponent gets a poison counter. And we've got the Eternal Wanderer. Legendary Planeswalker. No more than 1 creature can attack the Eternal Wanderer each combat. For +1, exile up to 1 target artifact or creature. Return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of that player's next end step. For 0, create a 2/2 White Samurai creature token with double strike. For -4, for each player, choose a creature that player controls. Each player sacrifices all creatures they control not chosen this way. Lovely. That sounds like a really great commander card. We have got Adaptive Spore Singer. It's got Vigilance. When it enters the battlefield, choose 1. Target creature either gets +2/+2 and gains Vigilance until the end of the turn, or we can proliferate. We've also got Tyvar's Stand. Target creature you control gets +X/+X and gains Hexproof and Indestructible until the end of the turn. And we've got Miglos Maze Crusher. Enters the battlefield with 5 oil counters on it. For 1, remove an oil counter from Migos. It gains Vigilance and Menace until the end of the turn. 2, remove 2 oil counters from Migios. It gains +2/+2 until the end of the turn. Or for 3, remove 3 oil counters from it and destroy target artifact or enchantment. We've got Prophetic Prism, an artifact. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card. For 1, we can tap and add 1 mana of any colour. We've also got Necrosquito, Flying. It enters the battlefield with 2 oil counters on it. Gets +1/+1 for each oil counter on it. Whenever another creature or artifact you control is put in the graveyard from the battlefield, put an oil counter on Necrosquito. Mirren Safehouse, an artifact. As long as it is on the battlefield, it has all activated abilities of all land cards in all graveyards. Seems a bit OP. Let's have a look. We've got everything on here so far, and we've also have everything on that one. Quicksilver Fisher, Phyrexian Drake. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card, then discard a card. We've got Bilious Skull Dweller, Death Touch and Toxic 1. We've also got Kaito, Dancing Shadow, Legendary Planeswalker. Whenever 1 or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, you may return 1 of them to its owner's hand. If you do, you may activate loyalty abilities of Kaito twice this turn rather than only once. +1, up to 1 target creature can't attack or block until your next turn. 0, draw a card. -2, create a 2/2 colourless drone artifact creature token with Death Touch, and when this creature leaves the battlefield, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. We've also got Feed the Infection. You draw 3 cards and you lose 3 life. Each opponent who has 3 or more poison counters loses 3 life. We've got Cinder / Ravager. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each permanent you control with oil counters on it. It's got Vigilance, and when it enters the battlefield it deals 1 damage to each creature your opponents control. We've got a rare wildcard. We've got Forge Hammer Centurion. Whenever another creature or artifact you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, put an oil counter on Forge Hammer Centurion, and when it attacks you may remove 2 oil counters from it, and when you do, target creature can't block this turn. We've also got Mirex. Tap and add 4 colours. Tap, add 1 mana of any colour. Activate only if Mirex entered the battlefield this turn. And for 3, we can tap, create a 1/1 colourless Phyrexian Might with Toxic 1, and this creature can't block. Okay, we've got all of those, and we've got Mirren Safe House again. I think we've got pretty much every single card that there is. We're just getting doubles now. Well, that's the second Elesh Norn that we've got. Here's a couple of firsts. Gulping Scrap Trap. Phyrexian Horror. When it enters the battlefield or dies, proliferate. We've also got Ravenous Necrotitan. Corrupted. When it enters the battlefield, sacrifice a creature unless an opponent has 3 or more poison counters. Another Eternal Wanderer. We've got Maze's Mantle. Flash, enchant creature. When it enters the battlefield, if it has Toxic, that creature gains hexproof until the end of the turn. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2. Also got Unctus's Retrofitter. Toxic 1. When it enters the battlefield, as a 1 target artifact you control, becomes an artifact creature with base power and toughness 4/4 for as long as it remains on the battlefield. We've got a mythic as well. Cephalopod Sentry. It's got flying. Its power is equal to the number of artifacts you control. We've also got Archfiend of the Dross for a second time. Anoint with Affliction. Exile target creature if it has mana value 3 or less. Corrupted. Exile that creature instead if its control has 3 or more poison counters. Lissa Sunslayer. We've already got one of those. Urabrask's Anointer. When it enters the battlefield, it deals X damage to any target, where X is the number of permanents you control with oil counters on. Encroaching Mycosynth. Non-land permanents you control are artifacts in addition to their other types. Stinging Hivemaster. Toxic 1. When Stinging Hivemaster dies, create a 1/1 colourless Phyrexian Might artifact creature token with Toxic 1, and this creature can't block. Serum Core Chimera. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put an oil counter on it, remove 3 oil counters from it, draw a card, then you may discard a non-land card. When you discard a card this way, it deals 3 damage to target creature or planeswalker. Activate only as a sorcery. We've got another Jace the Perfected Mind. We've got Bring the Ending. Counter target spell unless its controller pays 2. Counter that spell instead if its controller has 3 or more poison counters. We've also got Atraxis Skitterfang. Enters the battlefield with 3 oil counters on it. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may remove an oil counter from a Traxxas Skitterfang. When you do, target creature you control gains your choice of flying, vigilance, death touch, or lifelink until the end of the turn. And we've got Dragon Wing Glider. Quick creature gets +2/+2 and has flying and haste. Sawblade Scamp. It's got haste. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put an oil counter on Sawblade Scamp. Remove an oil counter from Sawblade Scamp. It deals 1 damage to each opponent. Skrelv's Hive, which we've had before. Thrill of Possibility. As an additional cost to cast this spell, discard a card, draw 2 cards. We've also got Awaken the Sleeper. Gain control of target creature until end of turn. Untap the creature. It gains haste until the end of the turn. If it's equipped, you may destroy all equipment attached to that creature. Also got Avika Enigma Goliath. It's got flying, ward 3, pay 3 life. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, create X/1/1 red Phyrexian goblin creature tokens, where X is the mana value of that spell. They gain haste until the end of the turn. Font of Progress. Enters the battlefield with 2 oil counters on it. For 3 mana we can tap, target player mills X cards, where X is the number of oil counters on Font of Progress. Evolved Spinoderm. We've already had one of those. Paladin of Predation. Toxic 6. Can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. Wow, what a card. Ichor's Synthesizer. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put an oil counter on Ichor's Synthesizer. As long as it has 4 or more oil counters on it, it gets +2/+0 and can't be blocked. We've also got Seachrome Coast. Enters the battlefield tapped unless you control 2 or fewer lands. Escaped Experiment. When it attacks, target creature an opponent controls gets -X/-0 until the end of the turn, where X is the number of artifacts you control. Azuri, Stalker of Spheres. When it enters the battlefield, you may pay 3. If you do, proliferate twice. Whenever you proliferate, draw a card. We've got Rebel Salvo. Affinity for equipment. Deals 5 damage to target creature or planeswalker. That permanent loses indestructible until the end of the turn. We've got Blue Sun's Twilight. Gain control of target creature with mana value X or less. If X is 5 or more, create a token that's a copy of that creature. We've got Nimrazer Paladin. Toxic 2. When it enters the battlefield, return target creature card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to your hand. We've also got Venser Corpse Puppet. It's got lifelink, Toxic 1. Whenever you proliferate, choose 1. If you don't control a creature named the Hollow Sentinel, create a Hollow Sentinel, a legendary 3/3 colourless Phyrexian Golem artifact creature token. Or target artifact creature you control gains flying and lifelink until the end of the turn. Here we've got all of those, and I'm sure we've got 3 of those now. And what is next? Let's have a look. Furnace Skullbomb. Sacrifice it, draw a card for 1 and a mountain. put 2 oil counters on target artifact or creature you control. Draw a card. Alyssa Sunslayer. So we're going to open up these gold packs. 5 gold packs. So let's have a look then. So we've got one. We've got Tainted Adversary, which is from Midnight Hunt by the looks of it. Cemetery Protector. We've got Adjaced the Perfected Mind, so that's the 3rd one we've got. We've got Lord of the Forsaken, and that's from Midnight Hunt as well by the looks of it. So let's take a look. We've got another 14 common, 21 uncommon. Right, what can we get then? Should be crafting. So we can get one of these. So we're just filling out these commons and uncommons now. So there we have it, guys. That is it for this episode of Magic the Gathering Arena. We have opened up quite a lot of packs at the moment, and we have used all of our common and uncommon cards. Still to come, we have got 51 rare cards and 14 mythic rare cards in order to make our current decks, and we will be back with the episodes showcasing the new cards. We are going to be using meta decks and seeing how they hold up against the ranked ladder. Also, we're expecting that a lot of the decks will be changing all the time, because there is a lot more cards to draw from the pool now, so it'll be a lot more diverse in the amount of decks that we can now create and play with. Hopefully there'll be a much more of a choice, and we'll not be coming up against the same deck all the time when we are fighting other people. So thank you very much for joining me on this episode of Magic the Gathering Arena. If you've liked the episode, give me a like and a sub. And until next time, guys, that's it from me, and I will see you on the flip side.